Okay, Mr. Rex, my question is this. Who did you have contact into the court today about you being sick?
I walked in and talked to the clerk.
Nope, stop. Listen, sir, I want you to be very clear with something. Somebody contacted into this court to tell us that you were sick with COVID. Who was that today? Was that Miss Wilson?
No, ma'am.
No,
It's my sister's. It's my sister's work on Southfield. It's urgent care. Sorry.
Your sister claimed that you were in the hospital with COVID, sir. So I was quite surprised when you walked on into the courthouse. Excuse me, Ms. Wilson, I cannot have you talking or testifying.
Hey, she's not talking. She didn't.
I didn't say anything.
She didn't, Your Honor.
Mr. Rex, there may be a delay on the Zoom. I don't know, but do not interrupt when I'm talking because I clearly heard Ms. Wilson talk. So do not tell me she's not talking. She was clearly answering for you. Ms. Wilson, do not answer for Mr. Rex.
Okay, I didn't say anything. I don't know if it's the wind or what. Sorry, I'm being quiet.
I'm sorry, why is Mr. Rex not on the phone?
Because he went to go throw up.
Sir, did you just vomit, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Where did you go to do that?
Down on the other end of the bushes. I wasn't trying to excavate your courthouse.
Okay, and so Ms. Benson, your name for the record, please.
Beverly Benson.
And sir, your name for the record, please.
Paula, correct?
All right, so I'm going to ask you something right now, sir. It's come to my attention that you smell as though you've been consuming alcohol.
I did last night, Your Honor.
Hold on. I'm going to have you both please raise your right hands. This is the matter of Benson versus Rex. And so, sir, if you were to test right now.
Can I speak? I lost a close friend and we were celebrating. It doesn't make it an excuse, but that's.
Were you celebrating until 8 o'clock this morning?
No, I drank last night, that's it.
Just drank last night?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're not currently under the influence of anything?
Just what I went to bed on.
Well, okay. So would you be willing to consent to a PBT? I just want to make sure I just want to let you know. I'm not interested in any crime you may or may not have committed. I just want to make sure that we're not proceeding with you being under the influence.
Just alcohol.
I understand that, but do you have any objection to taking a PBT so we can see what level you're at?
Mine.
Okay. Can we have to get that PBT over here, please?
You need to follow me with
Yes.
instruction on it.
Okay, so we're going to recall this matter in just one moment.
Yep. Okay. Go! Will you hand me my screen box?
Now go.
We are on the record in the matter, we're recalling the matter of Deborah Lee Benson and Paul Rex, 2401479. Okay, so, Mr. Rex,
Yes, ma'am.
you're telling this court that you do not have anything to drink this morning?
Not since like 1:30, 2 o'clock last night.
Okay, well, you must have really tied one on last night, sir,
I
because
did, man. I did.
You are .144 right now.
Well, I know it's pretty high.
And I'm going to presume that you did not drive the vehicle.
No.
And but in any event, at this point, right now, your participation is very minimal, okay, in these proceedings.
Okay.
Ms. Benson, this court ordered you to deposit money in an escrow account, which you did not do.
Mm-hmm. I am.
Why did you?
Well, because.
No, hold on.
Okay.
There is a court order that ordered you to deposit $940 into the court escrow account. This court ordered that on September 27th. Did you deposit that money into the court escrow account?
No. I called to try to do it through a debit card because I can't get my license back till January because I have epilepsy. So I can't drive.
What does a debit card have to do?
Because they only take cash, he said. They only take cash.
Okay, so why couldn't you get a ride up here?
Well, And then I tried to go buy the house.
Why couldn't
And
you get
the
a
car was still- the car was still there.
Excuse me, listen to my question.
I'm saying get an attorney and
Listen to my question. Why didn't you get a ride up here to deposit the money into the court escrow account?
they still were not out of my house.
What?
They weren't out of the house yet.
Ma'am, I'm reading this right here. Does it say plaintiff to pay, this is what it says. Plaintiff to pay $940 to defendant for refund of September rent. Money to be deposited into court escrow. That's all it says. Did you hear anything about unless they haven't moved out?
Well, I didn't.
Yes or no? Did you hear anything about that?
No.
No. So you just said that you couldn't pay the money into the court escrow because you don't drive.
Mm-hmm.
Correct?
Yes.
All right. Yet you're here today.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yes.
So you got a ride up here today?
Yeah. It's like an Uber.
Okay, good. Then you should have taken an Uber to deposit this money into the court escrow account. So you're in violation of this court's order.
Well, I came here because I'm gonna get an attorney and go after them because they damaged my house completely.
Ma'am, that's a separate thing.
I know.
This court ordered you to deposit $940 into the court escrow account, which you did not do. So this court's finding you in violation of this court's order. Deposit that money right now. You have that money to deposit right now?
I don't have the money because I had to board on my house. Because they broke every single door.
Ma'am, you're still residing at that house.
And I can't live there. It's on.
So where do you live?
I'm staying in hotels right now. So my house, every door, the entry is off. You want to see the documents in my house?
Nope, that's not before the court right now.
I can't even live in the house.
Ma'am,
The sheriff,
court-
the cops had to come in there and do a walk.
this court ordered
I
you to
don't,
pay
I don't even have the money right now.
$940 you were to pay on September 27th.
It was October 11th.
The writ was October 11th. You were to deposit $940. So this court's going to find you guilty of the show cause, and you have to deposit that money into the escrow account.
So even if I deposit, I have to my back because my whole house is, my house in the state farm wants me to go after him because he damaged my home.
Ma'am, that is a separate action that you certainly have the right to file if you choose to.
Mm-hmm.
This court ordered you to refund money to Mr. Rex in the way this court ordered that you were to pay defendant $940 for the refund of September rent.
Mm-hmm.
And that was to be deposited into the court escrow because the court wanted to ensure that money was going to be deposited. You did not do that.
Okay. I mean, they never even emptied the house. I had to run the dumpster.
There's a time and a place for that. That is not today. Today is because there's a show cause for your failure to comply with this court's order.
If I could deposit money on Friday when I get paid, because I had to board out my house.
Ma'am, you have $940 you're depositing on Friday?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yes. And so can I make another court date to show you the pictures and proof with my homeowner's claim?
Ma'am, I cannot give you legal advice. You stated that you were going to be retaining an attorney to help you with that part. So you have every right to do that. I cannot give you legal advice as to how that process goes. You can roll your eyes at me all you like.
So the escrow, who determines who gets the money?
Ma'am, this court has already determined that Mr. Rex gets the refund of September rent.
Okay.
However, if you have something else that you are bringing before the court, you can certainly bring that before the court, likely in a separate action, which your attorney will advise you on.
Okay. Well, I have pictures of my house right here.
And if I recall correctly, I believe I ordered you to deposit that into escrow for two reasons. One, to make sure that Mr. Rex had the ability to receive that money. And two, because I believe you stated you were going to file something regarding damages, and then that money would already have been held here. You have not filed anything about damages at all.
Well, I have over $10,000 worth of damages to my home.
Let me be very clear, ma'am. Deposit the money by November 15th or you're facing jail time. This court's orders are not to be taken
So
at
he
your
doesn't get in trouble
convenience.
for doing damage to my house?
Excuse me. You continue to interrupt me. This court's order is an order, ma'am. It's not your own interpretation that Mr. Rex may have damaged your property. I'm not disputing whether or not he damaged your property or not. This court entered an order. You didn't file anything to set aside that order. You did not file a request for a motion or otherwise to have this court determine something different. So you are to pay that by Friday or you're facing jail time. Thank you. Have a good day. Wyandotte versus Tony Rogers, 241618. And counsel, your appearance, please.
Attorney Corey Westmoreland praying on behalf of Ms. Rogers. Ms. Rogers, would you please state your name for the record?
Tony Rogers.
All right, and counsel adds to the arraignment.
At this time, Judge, we are prepared to waive a formal reading. My client stands mute.
The court will waive the formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty for purpose of the arraignment. And as to the pretrial, we'll schedule this matter for November 20th at 8:30 a.m. And counsel adds to.
Yes, Your Honor, I would like you to know that Ms. Rogers currently is residing locally in Wyandotte. She is a single mother of two, ages 6 and 2. After speaking with her at length this morning, she did assure me she would be appearing at all future court dates, and I don't believe she has any other pending matters at this time. I would just ask that all that be taken into consideration when assessing the bond.
Ms. Rogers, where do you work?
I'm currently unemployed right now.
All right, how long have you been unemployed?
Sorry.
How long have you been unemployed?
A couple of years now.
How are you supporting yourself and your children, ma'am?
I have a boyfriend I've been with, but we're not married.
Ma'am, I didn't say how does somebody else support you. How do you support your children?
I find or get cans and turnibles.
What? I'm having a hard time understanding you're talking, ma'am. What was that?
I find or get like returnables, cans, bottles from a few people. A lot of that is my income. Pretty much how I've been, or he supports us. He pays the rent and all the bills.
Ma'am, your children and you are not your boyfriend's responsibility. Where do you live? Wyandotte or Dearborn Heights?
I moved to Wyandotte in May with him and our 2 kids.
And so who has your 2 kids now, ma'am?
I believe he does.
Well, who had your children at 1:45 this morning?
They were in bed at home with him.
You left your 6 and 2-year-old children in bed by themselves while you and Mr. Archer left the home?
No, my boyfriend, my kids' father was home with the kids.
What? Hold on a minute. Is Mr. Archer your boyfriend?
No, ma'am, he's just mine and my boyfriend's friend that was visiting with us.
Oh, okay. And so if you were to test me, ma'am, what's in your system?
Methamphetamines.
Ma'am, I'm unsure. Is there a reason why you can't work?
Not like an actual reason. We had just moved to May. I don't have transportation. I would have to find a daycare within walking distance for my daughter. My son, he goes to a school within walking distance, and it's just a matter of finding something that fits everything.
Well, I don't have a problem having somebody overnight to be with your children, so maybe you can work the night shift somewhere. How about that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. I believe that somebody's already posted bond for you. Are you out of any other jurisdiction?
I had a warrant for Westland. I was homeless at the time. I had misplaced my paperwork to tell me when my court show cause court date was, and I had missed court, I believe last year. they had issued a warrant, but I had gotten stopped in May when I was moving to Wyandotte, and they said that they didn't want me or didn't want to send for me.
Oh, so that's from the open intox from 2021 that you've still not taken care of, ma'am? Well, given the fact that you have a previous failure to appear, given the safety to yourself, quite frankly, the court's going to order a $5,000 10% bond. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs unless prescribed. And in the event you postpone them, you're going to have to participate in random testing. So that means that in the event that you do post bond or upon your release, you will have to contact the 27th District Court Probation Department within 24 hours of your release to set up your testing. In addition, if you post bond them, you are to submit 30 job applications per week. There's zero reason why you are not working, ma'am. All right, thank you. We'll be off the record.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
You.
May I say something?
It depends because her attorney's still here, but Counselor, I believe that this is Ms. Rogers' mother, and she wanted to address the court. Do you have any objection to that, Counsel?
No objection.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
She doesn't have a job because she doesn't have a babysitter, and she does not have a car at this time. I live in Dearborn Heights, and it's 60 miles every time I come out here and go home.
60?
Yeah, 30 miles here and 30 miles
It's
home.
not 30 miles between Dearborn Heights and Wyandotte.
I'm sorry?
It's not 30 miles between Dearborn Heights and Wyandotte.
That's how my husband tells me.
No, ma'am. What area of Dearborn Heights do you live?
Eaton between Beach Daily, well, right by Beach Daily and Van Born.
That is for sure not 30 miles. 30 miles from Wyandotte's going to get you Ann Arbor or Oakland County or Monroe. No, I think you might be about 12 miles
Okay, so it's 24 miles.
round trip. Ma'am,
Yeah.
there are other options, right? There are many options.
We try to tell her there's a
It's
bus
been 2 years
line.
and she hasn't worked, so
There's
she
a
needs to
bus
get a job.
line. What happens if I can't come up with the $500?
She's there until her next court date on Wednesday.
Strong Future Homes versus Letitia Cochran.
Good morning, Your Honor. Lynn Kim on behalf of Ms. Cochran. And Ms. Cochran is present here today. Good morning.
Good morning.
James Fink for the plaintiff. Your Honor, the amount due today is the same as before, $875.31. There was an inspection, city inspection of the unit, and it passed.
And it passed. Okay.
Your Honor, this is I think our third or fourth settlement conference date.
Yes.
When we were here last, plaintiff had provided all of the repair orders from their system, had completed out all of the repairs, but none of them had actually been done. But after the court date last, they did go and make the repairs, and the inspector came, and I do believe they did pass. But since the inspection, Your Honor, in the past couple of weeks, Ms. Cochran's unit flooded 3 additional times. She showed me photos today where there's feces running down her walls, running down her stairs, coming up her kitchen sink.
So that's since the inspection?
Since the inspection. I emailed the inspector last week to try to get him back out. I have not heard back from him.
When was the inspection? Or at least, when were the dates that this flooding or this leakage occurred?
I know that it happened the day before Halloween once, and then I think twice more since.
Day before yesterday and Friday and yesterday. And currently they are there now, but I had to leave to go to court. It was the plumbing and maintenance.
Okay.
Because they can't get get the sewage to stop bagging up.
Looks like the reinspection date was the 1st
of November. Then that was previous to if the inspection date was November 1st, the one at Halloween occurred.
Be certain on the dates, and I have not seen the new inspection report.
So when this happens, do you call for maintenance?
Yes, sir, and it takes some days.
It didn't ask how long. You make a call in.
Yes.
How do you report your maintenance calls?
Voicemail.
You call it?
Voicemail, yes.
Are there maintenance requests, Mr. Fink, at all? Do you know?
I'm looking right now, Your Honor. What I can tell you is that today is the first I've heard of this new thing. I just double check my emails. Everyone knows I'm notorious for missing emails. I just check my emails from Ms. Kim and don't have anything regarding this. I check my emails from my client. I don't have anything from Ms. Cochran's unit other than reporting it past. And I'm going to look in her folder and see what else we have.
I have pictures, if that matters.
Well, the question is this. I understand you can have pictures, but if no one knows.
They know.
They are in her unit right now, Your Honor.
You know.
And they've been there multiple.
They said they only have one maintenance person. So
what call are they responding to today?
The sewage.
And when was that call? When did you make that call to?
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, yesterday.
Of last week.
Your Honor, Ms. Cochran sent me a text message some time ago saying, call me ASAP. And I missed that message. So I was not able to find out about all of the flooding that occurred until more recently. So, and last week was such a crazy week. Apologies for not messaging Mr. Fink about it. I don't know what he would have been able to do.
So are there people?
Sorry, retract that.
Are there people out there? You say there are people out there now. Can you verify that, Mr. Fink, or do you know?
Yeah, I'm actually texting my client now. I'm resisting the urge to use the word ambush. And so once I get myself under control and don't use the word ambush, I'll check with my client.
In that series.
May I step out and make a phone call, Your Honor?
Yes, let me pass the matter briefly and let's see where this is, because I don't.
Your Honor, I have tried to talk to Mr. Fink all morning, but he has not been available. So
okay. Whoa, folks. No. And Mr. Fink let the court know that he was going to be in a hearing with Judge Washington. And so I had other matters to do. And then there was a separate matter, Ms. Kim, that I spoke to you on. So that might have been some of the delay. Blame it all on me.
No, Your Honor.
I just blame everything on me because I have big shoulders. Part of them are Allen's, but I have big shoulders, so I'll take it. All right. So I'll pass this case briefly. Okay. And where are we now in this case?
Still owes $875.31. I checked. The plumbing issue is caused by the next door neighbor flushing wipes. The plumber is there now. They've responded every time it happens. Ms. Kim asked me during the break whether Ms. Cochran could move. Apparently she's overhoused, and the answer is yes, she can. They just don't have a one-bedroom unit available right now. We made a settlement offer last time. I confirmed today that the offer is still available if we can get this resolved. And Judge, other than that, I don't know what to do except make this the first trial I've had in front of you in 20 years.
Your Honor, as I've told Mr. Fink numerous times, this is not about the rental balance for Ms. Cochran. Most of that is because she was charged for bed bug treatment, which I think is inappropriate. But regardless of that, it's about her having to live with sewage backups continually in her home. And
But what if the cause is the neighbor? What would you suggest that they do other than respond?
Your Honor, I don't know if this is true. I've asked for information regarding the contractor so I could speak to them. If you would be so kind as to allow that little bit of discovery, so maybe we can put an end to coming back repeatedly on this.
We're going to put an end to coming back, but it's not going to be by that mechanism.
I don't know, Your Honor. What would you do if it's the neighbor causing the backups?
Well, that's going to be the problem. I mean, it seems to me that well, let me ask this, and the real issue, it seems, for Ms. Cochran is she wants to move.
Well, she doesn't want to live this way. Your Honor, she showed me a picture of.
Right. I know she doesn't want to live this way, but if it is indeed the neighbor that's causing the problem, it sounds to me like if she's overhoused, then she can move as soon as a 1-bedroom becomes available. Would that be the case, or is there? So,
Your Honor, I promise you that there is no one on the landlord side of this case that wants to prolong this or Ms. Cochran's tenancy in that unit at all. And I checked when asked today, and this is the first time I heard that she was overhoused and would like to move, but I checked and the answer is they do not have a unit available, but yes, she can move when there is one available.
okay.
She has been repeatedly making the request with plaintiff to move.
But her unit now is what, a 3?
2-bedroom.
2-bedroom.
She had children that grew up and left.
Okay, so the real issue is if they don't have a unit, there's nowhere to move her. Right? So why couldn't there be an agreement that the first 1-bedroom that becomes available, she can move? And then resolve the dollar fee? Because otherwise I don't know what we're fighting about.
Well, Your Honor, she just showed me her phone record, and she has been calling the rental office repeatedly for days, and they are just now addressing this issue. She's had the feces all over her house, the sewage all over her house. You know, I understand yesterday was a holiday and it was a weekend before, but in an emergency situation like
so
this.
What do you want to come out of that?
Well, I guess and it's not just Ms. Cochran's case, Your Honor. I believe that this property has insufficient maintenance. They're not properly taking care of addressing their repair requests.
I'm not here to
I understand.
somebody's business. I'm just not. I mean, I've got Miss Cochran's case in front of me. She wants to move. They don't have a 1-bedroom. So I don't know why the agreement can't be that when a 1-bedroom becomes available, she gets it. I mean, that's going to be the best that anybody's going to be.
Well, Your Honor, I think in addition to that, because who knows, it could be a year before she gets another unit, is that if there's an emergency maintenance issue, that they respond within 24 hours. She shouldn't have to live.
Well, right. But the definition of what's an emergency, it's going to be whatever it is. But I mean,
I believe a sewage backup that's affecting her whole unit is an emergency. And that she has.
When did the call, Mr. Fink, were you able to determine when the call went in?
It began this past Friday. And the message I have is the issue is being resolved. There's a contractor there now, I believe. So Ms. Kim asked me if it was an employer or a contractor. I don't know why it matters, but the answer is there's a contractor there. Issue is being resolved and has been each time she has reached out. So I remember that Ms. Kim mentioned on behalf of Ms. Cochran that it happened more than once. They've addressed it every time it occurs. But it happened this past Friday and the contractor is there now.
So the question I have is, what would you have the plaintiff do?
Respond to stuff immediately. And Your Honor, I would really like to have a conversation with the contractor to understand what is fully going on. And I believe that plaintiff is telling Mr. Fink what they're telling him, but I would like to have a conversation with the contractor.
Well, but Ms. Kim, something had to occur. I don't think it doesn't sound to me to be a defect in the premises because it passes inspection on the 1st of November, right? And then by that Friday, there's this problem. So passes it on the 1st. I don't have my calendar here, but the passes it on the 1st of November, that Friday. And then by the 8th, there's a problem, which is then getting addressed by the landlord this morning.
Ms. Cochran's phone history wouldn't go back further, but the calls all started from the 4th repeatedly. So she's been calling for over a week before they responded.
So how would the parties define immediately?
Well, I would say within 24 hours, Your Honor. Most emergency maintenance staff are available to respond within 24 hours.
To an emergency.
To an
Two
emergency.
things have to be defined. What's an emergency? And then the response time for a particular thing. I mean, I get that she's saying she calls. They're saying that the issue arose Friday. The issue also doesn't come from Ms. Cochran. It's coming from somebody else. It's also not, at least as they're saying, not coming from the landlord. So somehow or another, this has to resolve itself. I mean, because right now, frankly, Ms. Kim, if the unit passed inspection and then there's a delay, if I even go with your facts, she calls on the 4th, which would have been Monday, and they respond within a week. What are her damages?
Your Honor, she has.
What are her damages? No, I mean, realistically, what are her damages?
Well, Your Honor, the landlord has a duty to provide her with a habitable home. And if she had feces in her kitchen sink.
But hold on, they did. The landlord, however, is not the guarantor for everything that occurs. So she may have a dispute with their timing. Get it? What are her damages in regard to that? Because if the unit passes inspection on the 1st, she's calling that Monday. The landlord gets notification or at least has some acknowledgement of that by that Friday and has somebody out that following Monday. Yes.
I just want to clear up one thing. It's my understanding, and Ms. Cochran can tell us, that today is not the first day someone's been there, but that it happened again, and so someone is there today. In other words, it didn't take a week. There's been one or two reports from Ms. Cochran that received a response. That's my understanding. I'm not trying to put.
Well, and that would make sense because as Ms. Cochran said, it's happened 2 or 3 times since, and that's why I wanted to.
I just want to make it clear that it wasn't a week delay in responding.
Your Honor, the problem is, whatever the source, she's not being provided with a home that she can live in safely, especially with her medical condition.
Let's say you were able to sustain that. Because as of the 1st, with the inspection, she has been. Something happens on the 4th, and it is going to be a battle, or whenever that occurs, then it's going to be a battle of who the court believes regarding a call than a response. But the parties aren't that far off. They're acknowledging that there was a call. The question became, when was there a response? There's a response. Then something else happens. And it happens then on that Friday. They then get a contractor out. by that Monday or Tuesday because of the holiday. So then I get back to the point of what are her damages in those interim times. I can't say, if true, that she called in and somebody came out, that there wasn't a response from the landlord. But if the landlord responds, abates the problem for whatever period in time, even if just for a little bit, but the cause of that problem continues, that's not on the landlord. It's on this other party, if that's the cause.
Well, Your Honor, if I may, if there is a cockroach infestation in the building and it was caused by one of the neighbors, I mean, the landlord's still under obligation to remediate that. And even before this most recent
But
incident
hold
of.
it, that doesn't apply in this case, because what would apply in this case is there are cockroaches in the building. Landlord comes in, brings an exterminator in, gets rid of all the cockroaches. Then the neighbor, brings a batch of new cockroaches in. The landlord still has to respond, but the landlord isn't the reason that's occurring.
Well, I don't know, Your Honor. We're just we have no evidence. That's why I'm asking for
But Ms.
information.
Kim, what I'm indicating is even if everything you're saying is correct, what are her damages? And then what remedy do you want? Because I'm not hearing a remedy. I'm hearing the complaints. I'm not hearing the remedy.
Well, first of all,
if it's going to be responding immediately, okay, put that language in. You guys will be back when there's a response. And then we're going to be trying to figure out what immediate is.
Your Honor, so this is not just about what happened after the unit passed inspection. This case goes all the way back to when Ms. Cochran moved in 4 years ago. There's a whole list of repairs that she requested for 4 years. They completed out the repair in the system as though they were actually fixed when it wasn't. That's fraudulent. And it was only after we called the city to show that none of it was actually done did they go out to fix all the problems in her unit. And she didn't have a working washing machine, dryer, or dishwasher all these years, and they never fixed it. There's so many things, Your Honor. It's not just about the $700.
So we want to just set it for trial.
Your Honor, I would like to plaintiff to recognize that they've been attending to their duties very poorly and try to make an agreement to be better.
How would you like them to recognize that, Ms. Kim?
Well, Your Honor, I think that what we're suggesting about timeliness of response is one thing. And I would like to be able to talk to the contractor to make sure it's not a more systemic plumbing issue. You had suggested I call WCC to maybe get a pro bono structural plumbing person. Nobody's called me back. So if I could actually just speak to whoever they've hired, I think that we could maybe come up with some.
They're out there now, Mr. Fink, from your understanding?
That's my understanding.
All right, I'll adjourn this out a week. Go talk to them. I still don't think we're going to get anywhere. I mean, I don't know what you want the landlord to do, because particularly if it is caused by the tenant. And when you talk about a systemic problem, I can have certain size plumbing. If somebody's putting something down there, depending on what plumbing I have, it may not be a problem. But that doesn't mean that there's an issue with the unit.
Your Honor, is it not?
Your Honor, may I have 30 seconds?
Sure.
I'd just like to point out that this is the third or fourth time that we've been back, including Ms. Cochran, who has to come to court every time this happens. We can come back next week. If we have a final settlement conference, I don't expect
If
the
it doesn't
landlord.
resolve, then I'm going to trial.
And so I would like to ask for a trial date now instead, and point out that we have offered to remove the fee that was assessed to Ms. Cochran for not preparing for the pest treatment, which would take her down to, I think it's $435 or $475 and some change, less than $500. And we know that there are funds available to her. My client had offered to give her till the end of the year, to December 31st, to pay this less than $500, which means this case could be resolved. But I'll do whatever the court says, including come back next week and then come back for a trial. But I don't expect anything to change, especially now that we know that this isn't about whether she owes $435 in rent and court costs. It's about something that happened 4 years ago.
It's not about something that happened 4 years ago, Your Honor. It continued for 4 years. And honestly, Ms. Cochran should be entitled to damages for plaintiff's neglectful duties. But Your Honor,
What time next week, Your Honor?
9 a.m.
Thank you.
I mean, and this will give you an opportunity to go talk to the contractor. And
When do I get to say something? I'm not allowed to say anything. I cannot talk to myself. Why? Connor? I mean. I'm fine. Thank you. Nothing. I'm good. Thank you, Your Honor.
you're welcome.
Your Honor.
I can't remember who it is, but one judge that I was in front of when you settle a really hard case, she gives you a little mini candy bar.
Okay, that's not going to happen. I would think about doing that, but I'd eat the candy bar before they got to anybody.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
You have got to be kidding me. What is going on today? This is a joke. This is a joke. Today is a capital joke. We need an interpreter.
I need an interpreter when I cannot express myself sometimes.
Oh my God, sir, put that cigarette out. I don't give a crap that you are outside of this. What is wrong with everybody today? You know what, Miss Green, we're going to start bringing people in person. People going to learn how to act in a courtroom.
Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Ma'am? Ma'am? Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
I have no patience for that. And trust me, at the end of the day, I'm sitting up here, I'm the one that needs a drink.